Well, thank you for that. Then we've got our virtual and our active department. You know, a lot of people are running around using that big fancy term these days. It's called the metaverse. And I think in some cases it's scaring people away. I'm going to land the plane for you. The metaverse is Web 3.0. And what does it mean? Anything that's in 3D, interactive, real time, that's it. And I can tell you the train's left the station, and we're helping our government clients figure out their Web 3.0 strategy. We've developed a platform called X3 that's everything and anything virtual. And then last but not least, we're real excited. Our core of our business started 24 years ago in strategic communications and public affairs. And we've got a host of people that sit on site with clients, helping them plan, think through, analyze their communications platform. So when you think facilities, workplace transformation, virtual, interactive, or strategic communications, I hope you think of the great team that I'm blessed to work here with at Janssen. But let me give a shout out real quick to Tennessee. My grandfather used to be the sheriff of Anderson County. Now I know that's a long way from where Miss Yolanda sits, but anybody that's got Tennessee blood in them, we know it bleeds orange. So I'm excited to have you here today, Miss Shingleton. Go ahead and take it from here, and it's great to have you with us.
Yes, Ms. Shingleton, we have your bio up on screen, so if you'll tell us a little bit about yourself before we dive into your slides.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you hear me? Okay, all right. Thank you so much for the invitation to come and speak today and being patient. I am originally from Alabama. I started in the government in 2008 in the HR, moved to Huntsville, Alabama in HR. Then I went over to the IT department and then transferred over to contracting. And I joined the Corps Engineers a little over a year ago, and as a deputy of small business for the Nashville district. I am part of the Great Lakes Ohio Rivers Division, where Colonel Kimberly Peoples is the commander, and my supervisor, Ms. Bonita Carroll, she's on as well. But and just to let you know, also I'm a military veteran with 8 years of service, so I'm very proud of that as well. But that's my introduction, and thank you again for the invite.
All right, thank you. So we are on your cover slide, and I'm going to go to slide number 2. It says overview of the Army Corps of Engineers.
Okay, so I'm going to do a quick overview of the Corps Engineers. So if you go to the next slide, I believe it will have a short snippet about the history. The Corps Engineers, dates back to 1775, where the Continental Congress organized with the Army and the Chief Engineers with 2 assistants. And so in 1779, the Congress created a separate Corps of Engineers, and which was very revolutionary and needed during the Revolutionary War. And around 1802, they established a separate Corps Engineers, which we now call the Corps. So the Corps Engineers, we basically have a dual role. We support both military and civilian works missions. And for the military missions, we have the Chief of Engineers who works for the Army Chief of Staff and reports to the Chief of Staff for the Army. For the civil works missions, the Chief works for the Assistant Secretary of the Army, and he or she reports directly to that. We have a very long and proud history, and if you're when you get a chance, just visit our website, and you can get a little bit more information. And I believe the next slide is about who we are. So if the next slide, I want to talk about for the Corps Engineers, we are the largest public engineering, design, and construction management agencies. We fall up under the Department of Defense, and we work. Our direct reporting goes through the Army. We have over 37,000 civilian and military personnel, and we provide at least a little over 20% of the hydropower capacity, and we are involved in a lot of public works, a lot of public works. We have outdoor recreation opportunities for the public, and we utilize a lot of we have a lot of contracts with like commercial companies to do our construction work and a lot of our design work. So if you could, I believe the next slide basically would have about our mission for the Corps engineers, which is to deliver vital engineering solutions in collaboration with our partners, which to secure the nation's energize our economy and reduce disaster risks. For our, I believe our next slide, you should see did you get the updated one where I put the our boundaries and division boundaries?
Yes, ma'am. That's the slide we are on the division boundaries.
Okay, great. So you'll see where you should be able to see where Great Lakes and Ohio Rivers Division, that particular division is where I particularly fall under the Nashville district, and that encompasses the 7 states, which Tennessee, Illinois, Kentucky, and so forth. So it's 7 different states we touch, but we do have our division boundaries encompass, if you see the map, it's all over. So we're very worldwide. And the next slide, if I believe, it should have a picture of my commander here in the Nashville district. If you could go to that slide, please.
Yes, we are there.
Okay. Lieutenant Colonel Joe Saul is the district commander, and he came aboard around last year in July. And he's being that came aboard, our district basically we pride ourselves in executing federal work programs for the regions, and we support the nation by mitigating risks from disasters. We deliver collaborative water, resource engineering solutions, and public infrastructure management, which falls around the Cumberland, Tennessee River system. And basically, we're responsible for both the Cumberland and the Tennessee River basins, and our commander, if you could see, that's him. So that's just briefly what that's all about. The next slide should encompass our different mission points. I'm not sure if you can see that.
We're there.
It should have okay. So our mission points, as I spoke briefly earlier, we have different mission points, but we have 8 business lines that we work through. So that includes navigation, water and flood risk management, hydropower, environmental stewardship, recreation, regulatory, emergency management, and international and interagency support. Okay. And just briefly, just want to let you guys know that we support some business lines. We have 3 major projects. I just want to highlight real quickly. There's the invasive control at the Barkley Dam, and the Kentucky Lockton Dam, and flood risk management. Those are 3 programs to highlight really quickly. The next thing, you should see like our mission statement for the Corps engineers for small business.
Yes.
Our mission statement includes, we we're a premier organization to help develop and maximize small business opportunities. So to encourage participation in our procurements and broaden our base of suppliers throughout the Corps Engineers mission. So we are insanely positively welcome small businesses to support the mission, and this is very exciting opportunities throughout to work with the Corps Engineers rather. The next slide should encompass the different socioeconomic categories under small business that we usually have a lot of small business that participate. So we do, of course, utilize large businesses. However, USACE is very adamant about small business participation and cohesiveness to get our mission accomplished. Part of the socioeconomic categories include small disadvantaged business, service disabled, veteran-owned small business, women-owned small business, HUD zones, which I'm pretty sure the audience members knows about this. So in our next slide should encompass another aspect of our focus as the Corps Engineers. We want to ensure that all the small businesses that we work with receive maximum practical opportunity to complete work within the federal government. And each agency we set goals to maximize participation for small business opportunities. And I'll talk about that a little further down the line. The next aspect is that part of what we're looking for the current Corps Engineers, we're looking for capable companies, small businesses that are able to do the work. And I'm going to expound on that a little bit further down. Just give you some examples of what some of the members of the contracting team and program managers have discussed. So they gave me some ideas on how to relay some of the aspects of and capabilities of what they're looking for when you're trying to work with us. So the next aspect, you should see where what we buy. USACE, what we buy. We definitely buy construction and construction services, engineering services, supplies and equipment, and other services such as different supplies and so forth. So there's a lot of opportunities to work with us. The next slide, I don't know if you can see where the Corps Engineers, we have available money that we were given under the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act for the Corps Engineers. We have a $17.1 billion investment, which means there's a lot of opportunities for small businesses to work with us. I don't know if you're able to see that slide.
Yes, we are seeing it.
Okay. The next couple of slides up under.
The next slide we're seeing says USACE Nashville contract opportunities, looks like a cover slide. And I'm going to move to the next one, which looks like an Excel sheet.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, so basically, the Nashville specifically, I'm just reiterating, I do work specifically for the Nashville district. However, and I've included just a snippet of some of the current opportunities we're getting ready to go into the fourth quarter, which is a really big push for us. And I've listed some of the opportunities. I don't know if you can see the some of the opportunities that include the competition type. So and all of the opportunities that are presented, we do have, we have to have subcontracting available, because even if a large business is awarded a contract, there, it is required to have subcontractor opportunities, which is very advantageous for the small business community, because for a business that's just starting, you could subcontract under a large business and get that experience, get that knowledge, and be able to put that on your capability statement that says, hey, I have experience up under such and such, and if they do a good job, the contracting officers and the program managers, they'll know that you were involved in those projects and did a great job. So that's just a little snippet of that. Further down, I think a couple slides, I've included the top NAICS codes for the Lakes and Rivers Ohio division. As you can see, it's the top 5, and then the Nashville district specifically, we have top 3 would be up under the engineering services, and the other and heavy civil engineering service, which I believe is the 237990, and also the general, commercial and institutional building construction that falls under NAICS code 236220. I don't know if you guys can see that, and also included the current dollar value so far that we've awarded contracts under.
Yes, we are on that slide and we're seeing it. Thank you.
Okay. So the next aspect that I want to briefly talk about is the overall small business awards in dollars for fiscal year 2021, and total small business eligible dollars, which was 78%, and overall small business dollar was 22% for our overall small business goal. And this is LRD, what we accomplished within our division. So that's a good snippet to know. The next aspect, next part that I like to talk about. Yes.
Sorry, may I interrupt you for just a second? While we're on this slide that talks about LRD goals for our audience, what does LRD stand for?
Oh, I apologize. That's for the Lakes and Rivers Ohio division. That is a division that's part of the U.S. Army Corps Engineers, and that's the division that Nashville specifically falls up under.
Great, thank you for that clarification. I figured that's what it was, but I didn't want to make assumptions. The other thing on this pie chart, it says 78% total small business eligible dollars and 22% overall small business dollars. Is the slide saying that only 22% of the total small business eligible dollars have been spent till date?
No, ma'am, that was our accomplishment for 2021.
2021.
No, ma'am, yes, ma'am, that was just that's just a snippet of what the small business dollar out of the eligible dollars, 22% of that was overall small business dollars
Gotcha.
that
Okay.
was awarded.
Thank you. I'm moving on to the next slide. I apologize for the interruption.
No problem. The next slide, you should see resources.
Yes.
The Corps engineers in my office specifically, I am a cheerleader for the PTAC. The Procurement Technical Assistance Center office is a tremendous, great resource for any small business or any business period actually that would like to and they do cradle to grave. They don't just send you out there without any information. Here in the Tennessee area, our Procurement Technical Assistance Center counselors are excellent. They are very knowledgeable about the contracting process. So they offer free, and everything that they have is free. They offer counseling, training. They provide you with information about conferences and how to register, and they provide the information ahead of time to what different businesses will be attending the conferences. They help with searches as far as when you go on the SAM database, and from my understanding, this audience is already familiar with the SAM database, so that's why I didn't really hone in on that. But the PTAC is a great office to definitely get in touch with. And they, like I said, they help. All of their services are free. They help, and they're a major resource that I refer small businesses to. The next, I have another resource that we recommend to any small business that's interested in doing business with the Corps engineers is the Small Business Development Center. This resource, they also provide free services. They help showing you about forming a business, which, like I said, I know the majority of the business owners here, they already have their, businesses, but they do offer additional services about, social media strategy, marketing, planning for succession. So they offer additional services as well that will be advantageous for any business. And like I said, I refer many small businesses that I deal with, I refer them to the PTAC and the Small Business Development Center. I did include a couple of tips that you guys might want to consider once you decide, hey, I want to do business with the Corps engineers. One of the things I wanted to stress was to visit the different districts that you're interested in working with. At the end of the presentation, I believe I do have the contact information, but just out there, just visit their websites to familiarize yourself with, main contacts that you will need to get in touch with them, ask them questions about, their different processes at their particular location. We have a lot of networking events. So when you decide to attend a networking event, I would, more than likely request a list of the attendees in advance. So, just to, get a heads up about networking with them. It's a small world also, so you just never know who you'll be able to come in contact with, or who knows who, or so that's a little tip with that. Preparing a customized marketing materials. I put in parentheses, I highlight a capability statement. One of the things that we look for, at least on the small business side, the one of the best ways, like even like I could just for an example, if someone wants to do business, say in photography, the core industry of Nashville doesn't specifically do contracts with photography at this time. However, having that capability statement ready with the highlights of what your business do, the NAICS code that you fall up under, having that one page, one page, I recommend one page, but having that capability statement available and ready, there could be something that comes up in the future that you might be interested in utilizing your business to for an upcoming project. Another tip, of course, make sure your registration and SAM is current. And one of the reasons why I did add this in there was because there's been instances, at least in my office, where I've, after reviewing documents, and they have the contracting team already kind of, we have the strategy of how we want to procure a particular project, and once or even with a sole source requirement, sometimes the contractor would let the SAM registration expire, and that is not a good thing, because sometimes it would, it shouldn't take long, but things happen. So it's just recommended that once you get your registration done in SAM, just make sure that you keep abreast of the expiration and everything like that. That's very important, because in order to even bid on any type of contract, you will have to be registered in that database. And I'm just reiterating that. And when we due to COVID, we haven't been able to do a lot of in person, but just, when we do get back to normalizing being in person, just make sure you have enough business cards to pass out, which I'm pretty sure everybody here does that. Just want to reiterate that. And preparing your elevator speech, because some of the division, like my supervisor, she's the assistant director of Office of Small Business Programs, and she, would sometimes be able to go to different network events in person. So you just never know who will be at the event. So I just recommend make sure you have, the business cards and your elevator speech prepared, and practice. You just never know. One of the last final tips that I would recommend is, I talked about earlier about the Procurement Technical Assistance Center, and I forgot to add the SBDC, but please reach out, if you haven't already, to your Procurement Technical Assistance Center locally, and they have, like I said, abundant resources available, networking events, classes, all of their stuff is free. So that's just another thing that I want to recommend. So the next part is had the key takeaways. I don't know if you can see, we have a couple of outreach events. This is not all-inclusive per se, but it's just a little snippet of some of the things that we have going on. In any small business, or any business rather, that will like to get with any of the office or program managers, please reach out to the small business deputies to schedule an appointment and meeting with the offices and the program managers. All of the deputies are very helpful and resourceful. So that would be a takeaway that I would use to get in there. some of the, I put EOFY, so I say end of fiscal year, so I apologize, I should have had that out. Some of the end of the fiscal year awards goes to small businesses due to the time constraint and the limited solicitation and award time. So during this time is the best time to really, get in contact with the different district office to see what, check on the opportunities that you see in SAM. You on the solicitation, sources sought that's on the SAM, they have the points of contacts and email addresses of the different offices that you can get in contact when you want to know more about a particular project. And in Nashville specifically, we conduct our small business forum, we call Small Business Industry Day. We usually have that in March of every year. We would hold it in the with the TSU campus. This past year it was virtual, but we do have, that outreach event every year. And just a couple of things that's coming up. The 15th of June, our division is having a virtual career fair. Even though that might not be specifically for small business, this is just one of the things that our division does. We pride ourselves in hiring quality people to do the job, and so we're just looking for more people. In the virtual career fair, it's a great opportunity. Just like I said, this is separate from small business, but just to let you know that it is out there, and you'll be able to see it once you're able to get on the website. The West Tennessee Procurement Technical Assistance Center, in July, they're having a procurement opportunities conference. So if anyone here is interested in that, that information is available as well. And one of the big conferences that the Corps of Engineers is involved in is the SAME conference, which is the Society of American and Military Engineers conference. And that will be in the great city of Nashville, Tennessee this year, the 2nd through the 4th of November. And the additional information will be forthcoming on our district and division website. So the Ohio Lakes and Rivers Division website will have it, and then of course all of the different districts within our division will have that information as well posted. The next slide, I've included our points of contact for the Lakes and Ohio Rivers Division, which the deputy for small business that's in some of them are dual-headed. So there's, a couple of the small business deputies that take care of 2 districts. So, extremely knowledgeable in their area, in their particular areas. And it should have the contact of my supervisor, like I said, Mrs. Bonita Carroll. She's Assistant Director of Office of Small Business Programs. And I have the contact information right there. The next part, it should have where we are on the Nashville district specifically. We're on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and I've included the QR code code for the Nashville district. And you just, if you're able to follow us on the social media aspect and do that. That concludes my brief presentation. Does anybody have any questions that they have for me?
Well, this was insightful. We do have a few questions that have come in. And before I do that, let me ask Janet, Barbara, If you're still on the line, do you have any specific questions that you'd like to ask first?
Yeah, hey, Miss Shingleton, this is Janet Shahaki from Hanson. Currently, hey there. Hey, I'm sorry if I missed it. I don't think I did, but if I did, please forgive me. For your FY22, have you met your women and small business set aside goals?
We have not for the Nashville district, and I have to double check for the district, the division LRD, but Nashville, no, that is definitely something that we're vehemently pushing, to get more of those awarded. Our commander, Colonel Saul, he's very involved in, with our meeting, acquisition strategy meetings and everything, as far as like honing in on all of the socio-economic categories. And my my supervisor, Ms. Carol, she's on here, but that the women-owned small business category, socio-economic category, is one of her main focuses as well. So hopefully I answered your question.
Absolutely. I appreciate your answer, ma'am. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
And I'm going to broaden that question for the rest of the audience who may not be women-owned small business. Are there any socioeconomic categories that you have already met your goals for FY22 and you're just looking to meet the goals for others? Have you met any of the socioeconomic goals?
Actually, we're below our goals for this year as far as the Nashville district is concerned. But and one of the reasons for that, if we have, huge projects, like one of our projects is some of our major projects are, awarded to large businesses, but even though those are awarded to large businesses, they do subcontract. So even though the goal specifically doesn't have that we are in the green per se for those social economic categories, the subcontracting aspect is a very good way to look at that. So as far as being prime, our goals are, a little bit under the green, but subcontracting is, a good opportunity.
And let me ask a follow-up on that. Being that the Corps does use large businesses and expects them to meet subcontracting goals, is there a what percentage of your contracts are full and open, and what percentage of your contracting dollars are set aside? We saw the percentages, but are there dollar values?
Yes, so that's contingent upon what the allocated projects that is expected to be awarded within that particular fiscal year. So at the top of my head, I honestly, I have to get back with you as far as like the particular dollar amount, because we do have a way to, have that available. I just don't know that at the top of my head.
Fair.
So I'll have to get you the definitive answer. I'll have to send that to you.
Yeah. That's not an issue, and I didn't mean to put you on the spot. In terms of organizing matchmaking, you mentioned that you do have networking and matchmaking events. Do these large companies, the large contractors, do they attend these events so that the small businesses can meet with them and discuss subcontracting opportunities?
Yes, ma'am. The major one is the SAMI, which is the Society of American and Military Engineers. That is one of the major ones where a lot of large businesses go in, and in the conference, there we do provide where small businesses can even, you know, network with the large business. So in that conference, they do provide that opportunity, and that's just one major one. And sometimes and since I've just started, you know, within the last year, I do know the other districts within our division, they have had networking where they have large businesses come in and network with small business. So it's not just the Sammy, but Sammy's the real big one. But the other divisions and other districts do have opportunities where they do that. And see, another reason to reach out as well, because some of the things that small businesses are concerned with, our leadership are very transparent and open to suggestions. So that might be something that I can bring up to my commander as far as like doing a little bit more of that. It seems like that might be needed to get get more small businesses opportunity to meet with them, to be on the bigger projects if they're not able to be prime. I don't know if I made that clear. I'm sorry.
No, I think you're on the right track. And I did bring up the slide where it's saying that this year's SAMI conference is November 2nd through the 4th. So
Yes, ma'am.
For our attendees, if you are interested in that, you still have time. You may want to make plans to attend that event and meet the large businesses so you can discuss your capabilities with them. We do have a few questions.
I'm
Go
sorry.
ahead.
What they in that conference as well, once you get registered, they have a layout of all of the businesses available, large, small, all of the registered businesses. So, you know, that'll be something good, you know, that'll be available once they get it up and running. They're, you know, of course, we're in the planning phase right now, and I'll be sure to send out information to you, you know, once I get it. But just wanted to let you know that I can do that.
Thank you. And if you send it to us, we'll get it out to all the attendees today. A follow-up question, what do you recommend as a good strategy to get in front of the program managers, key players at the core? We have few members or few participants who have said they've tried to reach people within the different organizations with little success. What strategy do you recommend that these small businesses follow to get in front of key players?
Definitely, I hate to say that it's because I've seen it with I've seen that happen where a lot of contractors get discouraged, but I still recommend keep contacting the offices and reach out to the small business deputy. And when you go onto the SAM database and look at the procurements and the source of salt notices and everything, they do have the contact information. I will definitely recommend reaching out, calling, be very, very persistent. And I'm not making excuses. The contracting team and the program managers, they're insanely busy, especially now. This is a big, you know, this is the time that we're pushing out a lot of stuff. But be diligent and, you know, keep contacting them, calling, even, you know, till it seems, you know, maybe every day. That's what I would do, because you want to get them to like, okay, yeah, we need to pay attention, basically. And another thing, what I recommend, like I say, on top of contacting the small business deputy, what my commander, the National District, he, you know, stated that he wants to be more involved, and so the plan is to get set aside a different, you know, a time or a date within the month or within the week to schedule to where you have just the capability briefings. So I would reach out to the small business deputy first. Make sure you have the capability statement, your one-page capability statement, on hand, because they're going to ask you for that. Be confident in knowing, what you have to offer on top of, having a capability statement, and then request, say, hey, I would like to reach out to, I would like to have a meeting with the program manager to get, to go in front of, and present what I have. So the key to me, I would think is be very persistent. Persistent is the key, and don't discount the networking events, because each district has networking events, outreach events. I will not discount, I'll try to be, be in contact with that. And then the local Procurement Technical Assistance Center, they can also be another avenue because we're in contact with them as well. So that's another way, but persistence is key.
Ms. Shingleton, in your district office, can you talk a little bit about the strength of your team? How many folks are there, and do you experience a lot of turnover? We have a concern here that says, the company has marketed to their small business team, but then when there's a turnover, they seem to have to start all over again. What has been your experience pre and post pandemic with the small business office? I know you've only been there a year, so you may not have historical data.
Well, from what I was told when I got there, there was a small business deputy there, and they fell on they had illness that they weren't able to finish, so we had to bring in someone with the experience of which we would call a reemployed annuitant to fill in the gaps until they was able to bring, someone in. I'm not sure if that was the, answer you're looking for.
How large
it was a better.
Yeah, how large is your team supporting the Tennessee district?
As far as the small business office is just me, but the contracting team, we have the district contracting chief, and we have a couple of branch managers, and then at least 13 that are at the Nashville district itself, specifically. And is that what you mean?
Right.
You mean?
Yes. Yes.
Yes, ma'am. We do have the engineering and construction chief. We have project delivery manager chief. Of course, the district contracting chief, and it falls up under there as well. But
so
it's pretty.
No, I appreciate that. As a separate question, again, coming back to, for those companies who are trying to get into the Corps of Engineers and they're first-time prime contractors or want to expand as a subcontractor, do you maintain a list of large businesses who are looking for subs anywhere on your website, or is that up to the, is that not part of your database anywhere for subcontractors to find prime contractors actively looking for subcontractors?
On my particular website, Nashville, I do not have that on there, but that is something that I can talk with my commander in my the PAO office to add that on there, and I can get with the contracting chief and ask her because she would have that information, you know, right up front as well. That is definitely something I will definitely get back with you on as a do out, because that's
Thank you.
a great idea to do that.
Thank
That's a
you.
very,
So
very great idea.
I'm gonna credit that to the audience members who suggested. There are a few of them who suggested that. So thank you for that. And I want to be respectful of your time here. You've shared a lot of great information, but I do have two questions for you before I let you go. In terms of the infrastructure spend and the money that you have, the funding that you have received through the infrastructure act or the infrastructure bill that was passed, what does that mean for small businesses, and how do they get a share of that pie? What would be your suggestion, recommendation?
The recommendation would be to go to the district website, and there we do have the local, and we have our division-wide contract and opportunities, because some of them are our MATOCs, which is multi-award task order contracts. So that will be a way in for small businesses as well. So if you would go to any of the districts, any of our division, any district of our division's website. So if you go under Chicago, Pittsburgh, we all have a list of the contracted opportunities that falls up under the IIJA. So it's in all of our districts. And
perfect, thank you.
Yes, ma'am. We enter support, so it's on all of our websites.
Perfect. And my last question is this: with the executive order 13985 for diversity, equity in contracting, what specific steps is the Corps taking to diversify and give first-time contractors, not first-time government contractors, but first-time with the Corps, an opportunity to do business with you? Are you doing anything different to comply with the executive order?
I do not have a definitive answer on that. I'm gonna have to get back with you on that, because I do not know first off the top of my head the different steps right now. I know that the commander definitely is focused on that, but I don't want to just spew out anything just to say something. I want to make sure that I give the correct information. I'm gonna have to get back with you about that.
Perfect.
And,
well, yeah, please go ahead.
And I didn't mention earlier the leadership for the headquarters for the USACE. There is a plan in place to make sure that all of our districts maintain a current forecast list. So that is, I don't know, that's something that, our leadership is making sure that we have that available, so everyone knows the opportunities that are available throughout USACE. So our leadership is having us working on that too, on a not just like to specifically Nashville or even LRD, but USACE and all around. That we're working on making sure that we have current forecasts available and up to date in information for all of the different major projects.
Perfect. I'm sorry, I'm sifting through slides because I thought I missed showing something, but the forecast is on your website, and I did bring up the QR code. So please, for those of you who are looking for the information in the forecast, please visit the Nashville district homepage and the USACE overall website. Well, Ms. Shingleton, I really appreciate you joining, and I apologize for the technical difficulty you had, but fantastic presentation, lots of great information. Janet, any closing remarks that you'd like to make?
No, it was truly an honor to join everybody for the past hour. Again, my hat's off to the great state of Tennessee, but just everybody out there. And when you have a few minutes, definitely check us out, Janson, Janson, jansoncom.com. We'd love to connect with you. Thank you, Rena.
Thank you, Janet. Barbara, any closing remarks? I don't hear Barbara. Thank you all. And Ms. Shingleton, again, thank you for your time. And for, again, if you are not a member of the Asian American Chamber of Commerce, we hope you will join us. Thank you for everyone for joining as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.